So the UK 19650 guidance framework has been established to provide a reliable single source of ongoing guidance for the emerging ISO 19650 suite of standards. The framework, quite honestly, is in response to lessons learned from the release of BS 1192 Part 1 and PAS 1192 Part 2 specifically, where ad hoc guidance appeared from a number of different sources, which was often conflicting and not necessarily as the standard intended. So before we get into the framework, it's important to understand what are BSI's B555 committees. So B555 is responsible for construction design, modelling and data exchange, and it's the overarching group responsible for the UK input to a number of ISO technical committees as well as European, and responsible essentially for the preparation and publishing of British standards in this arena. So there are a number of subcommittees under B555, however specifically today we're looking at B555/8, which is the subcommittee responsible for delivering the UK guidance framework to BSEN ISO 19650. Before we get into that, I think it's important to just put up this joint statement that was released towards the end of 2018, where the three organisations listed, so BSI, CDBB and the UKBIMA Alliance, have effectively come together with this joint statement and are committed to a coordinated approach to develop and champion a single set of guidance in a clear and concise manner to help support industry. So looking at the scope of the guidance, so phase one of the guidance was to essentially provide that transition between the 1192 standards and 19650 Part 1 and 2, and that is effectively complete and delivered in PD 19650 Part 0, which was released with the British standard publication of 19650. This highlights the key differences between 1192 and 19650 and provides a navigation effectively and a mapping between the standards for various sections and clauses. Phase 2 of the guidance is actually the formation and delivery of the guidance framework, and this essentially is to produce ongoing guidance against the emerging 19650 suite. So the first part of the guidance being produced under the framework will cover concepts. It will cover things like the business case in terms of the what, why, who and how, and overall concepts and principles covered in Part 1 and Part 2, as well as some of the key requirements, as you can see in that list there. And fundamentally, the concept guidance will be high level for a wider audience consumption. The work started in February this year and is due for publishing in April 2019. Some other key statements in terms of the guidance framework generally. So all guidance will be available free of charge. All guidance will embrace plain language and clarify against technical jargon references. And all guidance will be fed through a focus group for industry peer review prior to publishing. So the second part of guidance being produced under the framework will cover process. It will cover the information management process during the delivery phase of assets from 19650 Part 2, as you can see by all the sections listed, which fall under Chapter 5 in that part of the standard. So this guidance really is greater detail and should help the reader for best practice implementation against all of those items. So this guidance will be published in July 2019, and as you can see, there's quite a bit of work to get through. However, this is on the way and on target, on programme. And this guidance will continue to evolve in response to industry's developing capability, understanding and capacity. So who's involved so far? As we can see, there is considerable representation in B555/8, with individuals covering a wide range of organisations, roles, disciplines and perspectives, which I feel is really important. All involved have experience covering either strategical, operational or implementation functions, and fundamentally are volunteering their time to help input to this guidance framework. It's important to say we do have quite a robust review and commenting process in place, with certain members of the group tasked with leading this and also reaching out and forming focused industry peer review groups. Then our editors have the final review and comment prior to any guidance being published. So what's next? Well, these are the first two elements of phase 2 of the guidance framework being produced. Further guidance will follow upon additional standards being converted to the 19650 suite. Such standards at the moment in work are 19650 Part 3 and Part 5, which were started development in 2018, and upon release these will supersede their 1192 equivalents, much like Part 1 and 2. And finally, really, just so to put it out there, the guidance framework isn't a closed shop. You can get involved, and if you feel you can contribute going forward for the further phases of the framework, then please do get involved and express your interest to engagement@ukbimalliance.org. Thank you for listening. I hope that was useful.